Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope all is well. Hope you guys' evening is going great. This is the Figure King returning to you guys with yet another review. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at a figure in a line that a lot of you guys are familiar with. I'm not that familiar with. Sorry, guys, for all you Star Wars fans out there. And that's right, Star Wars fans, because we're looking at a Star Wars Black Series figure. And as you can tell from the back of the box here, we're going to be having a look at Kanan Jarrus. There's a brief bio here on Kanan. If you guys want, you can pause it and have a read. But I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I actually just recently got into Star Wars around the time that the latest movie came out, The Force Awakens. Actually, the reason I got into Star Wars was because I saw a photo of the villain, which is Kylo Ren. I saw the photo. I saw his badass lightsaber. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. He should be a pretty bad A villain. So I went and picked up a Black Series Kylo Ren figure. Now you guys might be wondering, oh man, what the hell? How come you didn't do a review on that Kylo Ren figure? Well, at the time, my channel wasn't up. But if you guys want, I will do a review on the Black Series Kylo Ren figure. Just give me some feedback. May do one anyway. But I do have 4 Black Series figures. Kanan is one of the newest ones that I purchased just recently. I also have a sock and I have Finn. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the review. Now this is Kanan. Now one thing that really stood out to me about these figures, Kanan and Ahsoka, I actually saw Kanan at Walmart, and I didn't pick him up for whatever reason. I really should have, but I didn't. I actually purchased this guy for 22 bucks. It was a few bucks more, but I actually got it from my local fantasy shop. As you can see there, that's my local comic book store. Now, the thing that stood out to me about these two particular figures, those figures being Kanan and Ahsoka, is that they don't look like animated figures. If you'll notice, and I'm sure that if you already have this figure, and if you're watching the review, you'll probably see that they don't resemble figures from an animated show or an animated movie. This particular character does not appear in any of the Star Wars movies. He actually appears in Star Wars Rebels. And he doesn't look like his cartoon counterpart, if that's what you want to call it. He actually looks quite realistic. And he doesn't resemble the guy who does the voice of him. That, of course, being Freddie Prinze Jr., if you guys didn't know. He doesn't really look like Freddie Prinze Jr. Or, I guess if you squint your eyes just hard enough, you might see Freddie Prinze. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging. Up top, you see what line we get this figure out of. It's the Star Wars Black Series. Right down there you see a nice picture of the character himself. You see his name right here on the left hand side. It's a Hasbro, of course. You see down there, and it's a warning. Choking hazard, small parts, not children, not for children under the age of 3. If we turn it around here, you see just his name, and we get a pretty nice packaging there. Some pretty nice packaging on the side. There on the back, you get a read up on Kanan. You also get a pretty nice picture of, that's actually the same picture that appears on the front of the packaging. Up top in the right hand corner, you can see that that is figure 19. Kanan is. He's figure 19 in the Black Series wave. And you get pretty much the same thing on that side. So I'm gonna go ahead, take a break, get this guy cracked open for you guys. Stay tuned. Alright guys, now here's Kanan out of the packaging, and he comes with 2 accessories. He comes, of course, with his blaster that he uses quite often in the show that he was featured in, and it's just a piece of soft plastic. There's some dry brush in there. It's a really nice space pistol. There's some nice dry brush in there. It's pretty much just a gray piece of a soft pliable plastic. And he also comes with my favorite accessory, his lightsaber. A lightsaber is just a piece of gray plastic, as you can see there, and it has the long blue light piece coming out of there. And this is probably his coolest, well, I'm gonna say it's his coolest accessory. And one of the reasons why is because if you're familiar with the Star Wars Black Series figures that come with these lightsabers, you know you can actually pluck this piece out. The cool thing about Kanan's is you can pluck out this piece as well, and he can house this on his waist. So that's really cool. It's a nice feature for that figure, and I'm going to show you guys how he houses it here in a sec. But before I do that, oh, and also his gun has a working holster, so you can actually house both his weapons on the figure himself. What I'm going to do now is kind of bring Kanan closer to the camera so you can get a look of that face sculpt. Now, one thing I also noticed about this figure is not only does he look like a more realistic take on the character in toy form, because we actually did get another Kanan. I don't know if it was in the Black Series line, but we actually did get another Kanan figure, and he looked just like he did in the animated series. He looks a bit older. He looks like he's been fighting the rebels for quite some time. And Kanan is actually a Jedi. He's a Force-sensitive Jedi. For those of you who didn't know much about the character, I actually just found that out myself. So he's a Jedi who went into hiding, and he fights for the forces of good. Kanan is a bad guy. He's a good guy, I'm sorry. He's not a villain. I know a lot of Star Wars fans almost lost their mind. They're, oh no, Kanan's not a bad guy. It was a mistake, guys. We all make them. So just to look at some of the detailing on the guy, he has some dry brush in there in the hair, which is really cool. You see, he has a little ponytail there in the back. He's got on his gray sweater that he normally wears in the series. And there's a front and back kind of look at that. He's got his gloves on. He has an armor piece strapped across his chest, covers his chest and his right arm. And I mean, the detail in this figure is actually really nice. I'm really impressed. He has a badge there. If you guys know what that means, please leave a comment and tell me if you know what that is, because I don't know what it means. Actually, and I did notice this before, it comes down his forearm to his hand, so that's really cool. And now you can see his full holster, which is a nice added piece. Now, one thing I don't like about the figure is it's a small, well, it's not really a small thing, but it's one of my only gripes about it, is his holster isn't just attached to this piece, it's also attached to his leg, so it limits the articulation on the thigh swivel, which is not a good thing, Hasbro. You guys are making these figures, you have to think about articulation. Articulation is everything, especially to collectors, especially to guys that like to pose figures. So I'm sure that Chartimus Prime probably had something negative to say about that, because he's all about posing figures. Me, myself, I don't pose my figures the way he does when they're on display, but that's definitely something that should have been looked at more carefully. I feel like that was just a piss poor mistake, if it was a mistake on Hasbro's part. That being said, you can see here the boots, and another thing is he doesn't have a boot swivel, no calf swivel, anything like that, so you have to kind of rely on this leg to make him, to make him stand. And I mean, yeah, I mean, that's just a huge no-no. You guys really should have paid more attention to that. But his boots are really nice. I mean, those are my only real gripes about the figure. And this also moves, I noticed that. So for the articulation, his head is on a ball joint, so he looks up that much. His ponytail and the back collar kind of hinders that, but that's actually not that bad for him to have a ponytail and a back collar. He looks up pretty far. He looks down that much, which is okay. He looks side to side. You can actually turn his head all the way around if you so wish. I don't know how you would want to, but you can if you want. He has the ball joint in the shoulder. His left arm goes up that much. His right arm goes up that much. The shield does get in the way. You can rotate both arms all the way around, a full 360 degrees. He has the ab crunch, which doesn't crunch very well at all, but he does have an ab crunch. He has the ab swivel, no waist articulation at all. Like I said before, he has the thigh swivel. He has the double jointed knee. He has the single jointed elbow and no calf articulation, but he does have ankle pivot, but no ankle rotation. And he does have a little bit of rotation down there in the ankle. So for his weapons, like I said before, they can be housed there on the figure. So if I can get him to stand here, I'm going to take his lightsaber and show you guys how it's housed on the figure. So that comes off, and this piece goes right in here somewhere. Oh, wait a minute. Right there, but that kind of looks silly. I don't know if he wears it like that in the show. But if you guys know that he does, or if he actually does, go ahead and leave a comment. Or, oh, maybe it goes back here. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it might go right in there. And yeah, that looks like it actually makes better sense. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this piece goes right there. Yeah, so it looks like that's how it goes. But if I were to rate Kanan, I would give this guy probably an 8.5. And that's only because of the two minor gripes that I had about him. Well, the actually not that minor gripes. I'm actually kind of being a little generous. The sculpt and the accessories really save the figure. That being said, guys, if you know anything at all about this character, go ahead and leave a comment. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe. I'm the Figure King, and have a great night. Peace. He holds the weapons in his hands pretty good as well. He holds the saber in his left hand and the gun in his right hand, and you can house them on the figure.